Welcome everybody to another faith-free family moment. It's good to be with you middle of the week. I hope that your week's going well and that you're enjoying the favor of the Lord. It is really good to be with you in this way, and I hope our times together are an encouragement and really just a sense to stay connected a little bit because we're not able to see each other like I think we should and would. John 4 is where we've been. And looking at this account in Jesus' life, this dramatic account. We talked about the setting yesterday, that Jesus is in the temple, he's teaching, and he's interrupted. And he's interrupted in a unique way because a woman's dragged in. She's been caught in adultery. And in the midst of this teaching, he's interrupted, and the woman's thrown before him, and these rigid technicians of the law, these scribes, these Pharisees, they have a question for Jesus. You see, they're going to trap him. So they think. We read in John 8, verse 4, Now in the law of Moses commanded us to stone such women. What then do you say, Jesus? Boy, this is an interesting encounter. A lot of things that strike me about this. But I want you to, again, understand the setting. This isn't a typical classroom anymore. There's a woman whose hair is disheveled. She's probably hardly dressed. The mood is got to be quite unique. Tension. There's probably a lot of embarrassment. Just probably, if you can imagine, if you were another woman in the synagogue, you probably would feel for her. There's just a lot going on. But how about this woman? Can you imagine the guilt and shame she feels? See, she was caught in adultery in the very act. She is guilty. And she's wrestling through the guilt and shame, which the Pharisees and scribes could care less about. They don't care about her. She's just bait. A bait to trap Jesus. And so, as this woman whose conscience testifies to her, there's no guarantee she knows who Jesus even is. And so here she is, guilty and shamed, publicly being shamed. And Jesus is asked this question. And I wonder, well, let's be honest, I don't have to wonder. This woman's got to be afraid that that's what he's going to say. You're right. Let's stone her. I'm sure in her mind she's thinking this could be it. And her only hopes hinge upon what this teacher is going to say. It certainly appears that way. And these accusations that are thrown at her, they're true. She was caught. But there's a sense that guilt and shame, they actually can create different responses because there's different sources. We know there's the accusations that Satan and ourselves throw against us. And then there's true conviction from God. And so the source of this is significant. There's the accusation of an uneducated conscience. You know, we haven't taken in the truth. This woman doesn't know a lot of what's really going on around her. And it really is the instrument, is this conscience. But it could be uneducated, or if we educate it according to God's truth, then it becomes a healthy thing. Then there's the effect. You see, the self and Satan bring condemnation. They condemn us. That it's not just what we did was wrong, but we're wrong. But the effect of God-given conviction is it focuses on the cross. It takes us to a place where the sin was paid for. Well, the accusation of Satan and self brings a feeling of sorrow, of hopelessness. It's a worldly sorrow that has no hope. And we're wrong for being here, says Satan, says ourself. And when we talk about God-given conviction, we're talking about a godly sorrow that leads to repentance. And so as we think about even just this sense of accusation versus conviction, conviction is God's way to bring us to Him, to the cross. So in repentance we can find forgiveness and deliverance. Accusation, to be honest, whether it be from Satan or self, it results in despair and heaviness, often depression. There are many people who battle depression, and if you were to really trace it right back, it's a spiritual cause. They continually accuse themselves. And that sense of the outcome is what we're talking about. Because when accusation brings despair and depression, we recognize that conviction brings ultimately an awe, a joy of God's grace, and leads us to worship. And so the accusations of Satan and self and the convictions that God brings take us in two totally different directions. And this woman on display, she's being accused on one side. And now we're starting to see maybe in this account a little bit about this thing called conviction, because Jesus is going to deal with her. And so you need to come back tomorrow to see how this plays out. Okay, there's my hook. And I hope you'll continue to read through the account in John 8 and as we walk through it and look at this amazing moment in the life of Jesus. And so I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody. God bless.